Today we're going to look at how to shim a tuning pin hole. If it's loose and you need to do something, you have several options. One of them, of course, is to put an oversized pin in, but I think this is a viable option that you might choose, especially when the pin is already a 3 or 4 and you don't want to go bigger. Of course, this is on a jig to help you see it a little bit better, but first remove the pin and determine how much pin is inside the hole. Measure that. You can see why I marked with a pencil how deep that is, because that's how deep we'll cut our shim. Now mark the shim so you know what length to cut. Cut the shim to length, and in this case I'm using some edging that has glue on one side. The diameter of the hole is about 7 millimeters, so we're going to multiply that out by pi, and then divide that in 2, so it's going to be about 11 millimeters that we're going to cut the top of the shim. The final product we're going to produce is this shim that's 11 millimeters at the top and about 4 at the bottom, and of course the height of it is what we determined at the beginning. Cut one side and then cut the other, and then make sure that you got the correct height, and now we're ready to insert the shim. Now put the shim down inside the pin block and make sure it's the side you see in the picture there, because that's where the string pulls the pin against the pin block and it kind of wears it out. And that's one of the reasons too why you make the top of it bigger than the bottom, because the top is being smashed and moved around by the tuning and the other processes in the piano. I didn't mention this earlier, but take just a tiny bit of glue and put it on that shim so that it will glue to the pin block, so when you put the pin in it doesn't slip and slide around. Then take the tuning pin and press it in the hole a little bit, being gentle and pressing that shim so it's kind of round. It's easier to put the pin in that way. Now turn the pin in. Be very careful, but turn it in. Don't pound it in because you'll pound the shim down. Carefully turn it in and you should be done. Just a couple points to end with. Experiment with veneer thicknesses. I can't tell you what thickness you need to use because you need to experiment. Number 2, cut the shim to the shape shown in the video, and don't use those awful metal sleeves. They actually act like a lubricant after a while and they will slip, so don't use those. Also, I don't recommend any kind of sizing fluid that they used to use, but CA glue is a viable option that someday we'll explore in another video.